Welcome. My name is MooniLove. This is Simone, and we are here for a transformative journey we're about to take you on. So, today we're going to be talking about shadow work. What do you feel about shadow work? What do you know about it?
Well, I feel like shadow work is the dark night of the soul. It's a way to get closer to the self. Shadow work is a way to uncover the excuse me, is a
Mhm.
way to uncover the hidden parts of the self that we don't like to look at. Shadow work is a way for us to understand the negative parts about ourselves that we don't like to acknowledge: the ego, the pride,
Yes.
the insecurities, the attachments, the entitlements, the controls, those types of things. We don't like to look at those things. So I feel like shadow work is a way for us to uncover those things if we are truly diving deep into the self.
Yes, I agree. I feel like a lot of people are trying to know more about shadow work and they're wanting to learn more about it. So that's why I feel like we're here to kind of, help people out and spread the word because, we're in a time era where people are wanting to get help, to be awakened and everything because, in the 90s and stuff, they were just like, hey, um, they didn't acknowledge it and they did not believe in therapy or even any self-work, so we're right now we're in a time where people are wanting to know more about it. So yes, it's about acknowledgement. It's about acknowledging that there's a problem with yourself and sitting with yourself and being like, hey, what don't I like about myself? Like you said, going into those dark times about with yourself and everything. So yes, I do agree. I agree. Um, yes, so we're going to talk about also fear of being alone, self love, and sexual energy. Now, the fear of being alone, um, you know, pushing us in a place where you just don't even want to. Because if you don't do the shadow work, then you're going to fear being alone, right? So, how do you feel about that?
I think we place a lot of expectations on,
Mm-hmm.
um, the fear of being alone, but I feel like if we focus more so on not being alone and focus on the healing while we don't have no one around, I feel like we will alleviate the expectations of why nobody is there and why we feel the fear to be alone. And so, fearing of being alone comes from another type of shadow work. It's another layer that we have to uncover. Why is fear even a part of our life? What is scary about
Yeah.
fear? I feel like what about fear makes us not want to be by ourselves? What about fear makes us want to be around other people? What makes us feel comfortable around other people to where we're scared to be alone?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens in the alone time that is scary? And I feel like we don't place emphasis on looking at just that. What
Yeah.
is scary about being alone, especially if nobody is there, nobody is bothering you, nobody is harassing you, nobody is in your ear, nobody is asking you for money, you ain't got to go nowhere. It's just you, yourself, and you.
So
So, what is scary?
what is scary is that you haven't put in the shadow work, so the hidden parts you dislike about yourself is going to come up when you're by yourself because you're going to have to sit within yourself. So a lot of times when you're around people, you don't have to think about all the bad flaws you have in the work you have to put on. You just go with the flow. You're just going and you're doing your party and you're hanging out with your friends. You're doing your thing and you keep going and going. And you don't feel like there's nothing wrong with you. But the minute that you are alone, you have to sit with yourself and think about, the parts of yourself that you don't like. You know what I mean? So that's where I want to talk about is like, being in that place where, you have to, where you're sitting and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? That's why people are just like, okay, I want to pick up the phone and call my girl or my boyfriend or whatever. I just want to leave because they don't want to acknowledge it, because putting in acknowledging it and then um, just doing the shadow work is putting in work. And just be honest, nobody likes to do that. Nobody wants to be putting in the work or do anything. It's easier to just kind of just mess up and just been doing what you've been doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of us, such as myself, I'm not gonna speak on. I'm not. I don't want to be the person that
No,
speaks on, but
totally. Like
everybody. I don't want
I
to speak.
encourage people,
I
and I encourage you to like bring up times that you've experienced that, because
Well,
we're
yeah,
all
that's what
learning and
I'm
growing
saying.
too. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to speak on the terms of, putting everybody in that category, but
Mhm.
me speaking on myself in terms of, going through shadow work and
Yeah.
then having a fear of being alone because I feel like we should talk about the expectations in between shadow work and the fear of being alone because I come from a place where I had a lot of expectations that while I was going through my shadow work, other people were going to be around there. Other people were going to be around me to help me get through it. Other
Yeah.
people were going to understand what I was going through in order for me to know why I had to be placed alone, why I had to be there. There was times that I can recall where I cried every night, because I was stuck
Mhm. Yeah.
in an expected place that I put myself in.
Mhm.
I expected to heal, but I didn't know how to heal. I
Yeah.
expected to not feel pain, but I didn't know how to get myself out of the pain that I was putting myself into. I expected people to be around me and heal with me and know what I'm going through, but they ain't walked in my shoes, they ain't never
Mhm.
been through what I've been through. Or, and if they have, we've never talked about the familiarity that their experiences and my experience actually
Mhm.
correspond to why shadow work and having fear of being alone plays a part in that. And so I had a lot of expectations going back to just thinking that being alone meant at least one person was there to bounce off with, to bounce off
Mhm.
ideas or to say, you know what, I don't feel so good today. But
You wanted the support and encouragement.
I wanted a physical person and I expected that while I was going through my shadow work. And I
Yeah.
was wrong about the expectations that I had because of, the things that I experienced before. I had a family that was always there. I
Yeah.
grew up in a family where a lot of people lived with me and my
Uh-huh.
grandma. My grandma is the matriarch in my family currently today.
Mhm.
So she's the oldest and she's only 79, but she's the oldest woman in our bloodline on this side, in the
Mhm.
Woods side of the family. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's more like everybody was always at her house
Mhm.
when they got kicked out of their places or when they wasn't, living in a good space and they needed somewhere to stay. They came over there with me and my grandma. And so, because I had so many people around all the time, while I was having my up days and having my bad days, I didn't know what I was expected to go through
Mhm.
because people were there. And then people were still talking to me in my ear. Oh, you ain't, you talking too much. Or, oh, I don't want to see you. Or you're annoying
Or
or
you need to do
whatever.
this. You need to do that.
Do this, do that. And it was just like, well, right now I'm crying. I'm in pain. I'm going through something. Do you
Mhm.
understand that? Did you ask me how I feel? Do you understand that, you know, I don't want to be alone because I don't like this pain that I'm going through.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
to dump all of my frustration and everything that I'm crying about onto you is not fair either.
Mhm.
How can you encourage me? So my expectations of having people there wasn't the best because I was pretty much dumping my trauma onto somebody else for them to take with them.
Mhm.
So I had to learn that, you know what? Why was I scared to sit alone and cry and then understand what I was feeling? You know, why
Mhm.
was I crying? Asking yourself, why are you crying? That sounds like a dumbass question when you really want to know the answer from someone else. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
why are you
yeah.
crying when you ask your kids? And then it's embarrassing to tell you why because it sounds crazy to you to hear the answer, but to that kid, it was really traumatic. But as an
Yeah.
adult, asking yourself, well, why am I crying? Well, what made me triggered and what made me upset? That feels it feels weird. So to sit through shadow
Mhm.
work and ask yourself these questions, well, why are you hurting? Who hurt you?
Mhm.
Why are you,
And how
what?
you said right there when you
Yeah.
were talking about you were wondering like, why am I crying, or you just didn't want to allow yourself to cry. And a lot of people suffer from that right now, and that's why they don't want to put in the work, because they don't want to sit within themselves. And we got to reprogram our mind and our brain, because the society got us thinking that crying is a weakness. Crying is a part of releasing the toxins that are in us. It's cleansing. It's very cleansing to cry, because we're letting our pain out. We're letting it out. And that's part of shadow work, is letting it out. Let the trauma out. Let the trauma out and heal. And it's okay to cry. You're going to have these moments. Allow yourself time to cry. And like you said, with the expectations, that's the expectations that you were wanting support from your family and you didn't get it. Now, when you're on this healing journey, it's very lonely and it is discouraging, because our loved ones are supposed to be here. And we feel like we want the encouragement and support and everything. But, it's a dark, lonely journey. Let's tell
Mm-hmm.
y'all right there. It's a dark, lonely journey. It is not easy. And it's even isolating yourself, because, again, you're going to get disappointed and hurt, like you were saying, with your family and stuff. And if you stay in that place, you're not going to grow. It's only going to make you more insecure and more disappointed. So I got to give it to you, because you end up finding the strength for yourself to detach yourself from your family members and your friends, because it's your growth, it's your journey, it's your healing. It's not theirs. You know
Right.
what I mean? They gotta do their own thing, whatever. But you did good. Just gotta focus on yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. So, what are some things you can tell us that you've experienced pertaining to shadow work and, you know,
Yeah,
fear of
pretty
being alone?
well. I could, like, for you, I come from a family where we're always around each other. So it was normal. And I was never really got a time to really stay, but sit within myself. I was always around friends and family. So when I separated from my husband, it was very lonely, and I was trying to tell myself that why am I fearing being alone? Why am I just going around and trying to do other things to myself to just hide the fact that I just don't want to be alone? Keep busy, doing stuff I'm not supposed to be doing, so yeah, so I just it was a journey in itself, because you're gonna get tired of running into that wall. You know what I mean? You're gonna keep getting tired of being. You're gonna be sick and tired of being tired. You know what I mean? So that's where I came. I was just like, you know what? I know I have a higher purpose here. You know what? And I know that I need to be doing something better with my time and for myself. And I started to want to put the love within myself, instead of, just giving it to other people, and just, being in denial, or just, trying to save everybody but myself. And that's when you're like hiding. You're hiding from what you don't want to put the work in. So when I acknowledged it and that I had a problem or whatever I was dealing with, and I started putting in the work, and that's where I'm at now. And it's still a process. Like, I'm never going to say that, I'm done, because self work is something you have to be consistently working at, because, again, we're human beings, so we can be
Absolutely.
getting triggered. You know what I mean? I could get triggered, you can get triggered, but it's how fast that you notice it. You know what I mean? To where you
Mm-hmm.
catch yourself, because, again,
Right.
all you
Right.
have is yourself. Nobody's going to be there to catch you, or tell you, hey, this and that. You're your own cheerleader. You know what I mean? In this
You're
in
hiding
this
in.
in this thing
Right.
we call life. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you're gonna catch yourself, catch yourself, redirect yourself. You know what I mean? And that's growth right there. Like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't react the way that I used to. I didn't go all the way. I caught myself, and I was like, you know what? Let me bounce. You know what I mean? Let me
Right.
get up out of here.
That's a beautiful thing. What do you feel? Let me ask you this, because
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you mine,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna ask you for yours too. What do you feel like your main problem was at that time that you were just describing? What do you feel like your main problem was that you didn't want to acknowledge? as far as in your
Yeah.
relationship, in that
Well, I
time in your life,
mean,
what do you feel like your one problem was that you didn't want to take accountability for?
just I mean, I feel like there's not just like one. I feel like that's something that I'll have to sit with and just like you're putting me on the spot right now with that. But hey, this is why we're here, right?
Hey, just to be honest, you can't be asking me to
Hmm.
tell my dish and spill my
Yeah.
teas, but then when I ask you, you want to speak in general. It's
Yes.
called
Yes. Yes. Yes.
reciprocity. So
Yes.
if I tell my secrets, you tell yours, and we both are healing the community, because
Yes.
some people
Absolutely.
will be looking at
Absolutely.
us. Some
Absolutely.
people are expecting and then not expecting, right? Let me take the expectations away.
Yeah.
Some people
Absolutely.
are hoping for the truth, and in 2024, with the the Cat Williams and the
Yeah.
Kendricks and the Drakes and the Chris Browns and
I
all of the
just
people talking about the truth and starting to spread truths out there, it's a time where we don't have to hide behind our shadow work. We could
mhm.
just talk about the truth in the shadow work and show that. And this is a sign of us taking accountability
Yes.
and
Yes.
being
Yes. Yes.
awakened right now, today, about, what? My number one, because you still thinking about yours, right?
No,
My number
I'm
one
okay.
problem in my life in general, not just in my relationships, but in my
Mhm.
family ships, in my all of the ships. My number one problem is being in control.
Mhm.
So I have to work on having control. I have to, having too much control is abusing it. Having too little control is being, taken advantage of. So I have to
Yeah.
learn the balance between how much control I have and how much control I'm giving out and how much control I'm just going to hold on to. So within me, in all of my relationships, whether it was a friendship, whether
Mhm.
it was a partnership, whether it was a lot of family members relationships, you know what I'm saying, I'm very guilty of being too
Mhm.
controlling. So yeah, that's a big thing that I'm focused on as a part of my shadow work that I'm still working on. I
Mhm.
don't know how to finish healing it, but all I know how to do is find the balance within it. So I'm still working on that, and I'm guilty, y'all. Don't shoot me, but I ain't no dead horse yet. Okay, okay. So
And
let's speak
what
on
you said,
that.
I was the opposite. I felt like I didn't. I felt like I didn't have any control. I felt like I wasn't able to have my own voice and identity. So that's what I was searching for. I was pretty much living through my man. You know what I mean?
Don't
It's
let
like
her piggyback off of what I said,
no, no,
y'all. Don't let her just flip the
my
script
man,
and say
because
the same
that's
thing
what
I
it
said,
was.
just the opposite way, y'all.
I was
Tell her to be real truthful,
I
okay,
am
y'all?
being really truthful because
I'm
I was
just
in a
kidding.
relationship I was married at the age of 15.
Okay.
I was married at the age of 15 and he was 9 years older than me. So, by that being said, it's like everything was his way, you know what I mean? So, it's like he groomed me the way that he wanted me to. Like,
Right.
I didn't feel like I had my own identity and that bothered me. In
Right.
my own opinions. Yes, he would listen to me about my opinions, but it just felt like I wanted my own life, you know what I mean? And as much as he was a good man to me and everything, I always felt that I was missing that. I felt like I was living through him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living through him. And I would be in denial and tell myself that, you know what, you got a good man, he's a good provider and everything. But it just wasn't enough for me. I knew that I had a higher purpose and I was just needed to break free from it. And I was staying because the nuclear thing that we're programmed to
Mm-hmm.
have, to have a family and this and that and to stay with him or whatever. And he wasn't abusive or anything. So I'm telling myself, I'm giving myself excuses why I'm staying. But in reality, I wasn't helping because I felt like my growth was being stunted. I felt like I had to give a message to the world and what I'm doing now and heal people, but I felt like I wasn't able to do that with him because again, I was living through him and I didn't have my own identity and I wasn't tapping into my throat chakra or anything. And that was frustrating. And me being in denial and everything, and I was with him for 15 years. So that and then that's why I didn't want to be alone, because if I'm alone, I have to acknowledge that, dang, this is how you feel, and it's fucked up. So I didn't want to acknowledge how I feel. I just want to be like, look, I'm on a hill. He provides for me. I'm driving an Audi. I'm doing this and that and all the stuff, all this material stuff. But it was just a mask of how I was truly feeling. I was able to shop, and I had all the name brand stuff and everything. And that was nice and all, going to these fancy restaurants, but it wasn't feeding my soul anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that would took me down a long journey of just sadness and feeling lost and feeling like I have identity. So that's my experience. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. If you don't mind me
I'm
asking,
being
so you were
vulnerable.
15. You were 15. Can I ask you how old are you?
I'm 44.
You're 44.
Mhm.
So you were 30 when you got out of that
Yeah.
situation.
Yes.
So at what age do you feel like you started your self-care journey? Because this goes into our next topic. At
Mhm.
what point or at what age do you feel, or how long did it take you from your 30th year after you guys after you cleared that air? When do you feel like you started your awakening journey, your self-care journey?
I wanted to say about 2 years after.
So
2 years.
32.
I started it. I started to just to want to find my own identity, things that I was passionate about, things that I was into, and yeah, and it's been a journey since then. It's been a journey. I've been going down different, steps and everything, and like I said, to this day, it just never stops. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. You know what I mean? So, I can share the word, what I've learned, but I'm still learning and growing with you guys. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love that because, I'm still learning and growing too within
Mm-hmm.
my self care journey as well as you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I I too had a rough relationship, but I was in a situationship. You was in a relationship, marriage, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Yes,
I was in a
everything.
situationship. This was like baby cake compared to you. But yeah, once I got out of that, because in this situationship, I was taught about spirituality. I was taught about, the higher self. I was taught about business and entrepreneurship and just being a woman. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? After I broke off my 2 year, you was in the 15 year. I was
Mm-hmm.
only in 2 year.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
My 2 year situationship. Um, I was 26 when I was in a situationship, and I believe I was 28 when I started my self care journey.
Yeah.
That was really hard.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about your self care journey, but my self care journey was extremely hard because I'm so used to being the giver and being naive to certain things.
Uh-huh.
So it was easier for me to just give myself away, but it was hard for me to keep myself for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was the difference. So I can give me to you and I'm loyal to you, but I can't be loyal to myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not consistent with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I learned how to focus on me, but that was hard because I didn't want to do the shadow work to
Mm-hmm.
ask myself, well, what's hard about me giving my own self some clothes and some shoes and taking myself to out to eat to Red Lobster and taking me to the park and going out to Vegas, and why I can't do that with just myself though?
Yeah.
Why I had to have somebody? I had these attachments,
Yeah.
but we will speak on attachments in our next
Yes,
our
we
next
will. We
segment.
will
However,
definitely.
yeah, so stay tuned, you guys, to catch up and catch in and tune in to our next segment about attachments. But right now, I just couldn't understand why I couldn't give myself me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was hard. But once I was crying about it, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, Lord, I kept saying, fuck this. I'm going to just do it myself. I'm going to depend on myself. And then it was like, well, how the hell do I depend on myself? And then it was like, I was talking to myself about myself, and I was just sounding crazy to myself.
Yes.
Nobody
And
is in this room
I
with
just-
me.
I just
And
wanted
nobody
to-
understands like what I'm literally going through, because this is me going through shadow work, learning how to not expect somebody to stick around with me while I'm trying to ask myself these ridiculous questions. Then it was like, okay, now I'm trying not to be, scared of being alone while I'm trying to learn this shit, throughout this self-care journey. And then me trying to figure out why I'm questioning myself to learn myself. It was like
it's
really
perfectly
weird.
normal. It's perfectly normal, those feelings that you were feeling.
But I didn't know that,
And
because
no,
it was
you don't.
new for me.
No, and I
like
didn't know it
new
either.
for
I didn't
you.
know it either. And
We
actually,
didn't know.
there is something very crazy and tricky about this. So like when you realize, like, dang, something got to change, something got to give. I can't keep running into this. Well, I can't keep doing this anymore. And so that's when acknowledgement comes in. So then now I'm separate, right? I'm on my own. I'm on my own journey, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then you can actually regress, because then you start to feel sad, like, dang, you know what? I miss my old life, or I miss him, because we're so familiar with that. So change and shadow work is very hard because we're so comfortable with what we know. It's like when we're on our journey, we will start to miss our old life. We will start to be like, you know what? I want to go back to that.
That's true.
Or I want to do that. Because why?
Don't do it,
Because
y'all.
you want to
Don't
be
do
in
it.
that comfortable space, and you want to feel like, dang, it's comfort in knowing and the familiarity. But it's not doing you any justice or reaching your higher self. It's not like you're not doing that, So I had to go through that period too, where I was just like, why is this confusing? I wanted this. Like,
Right.
you start to question yourself, and you start to kind of feel like you're kind of going crazy, because you're like, dude, like, you got what you wanted. You broke it off. Here you are. You're about to go on your self-healing journey, and now you want to go back. And I'm just like, okay. So I had to go through that time period too, where I was like that. So if you guys find yourself doing that, like, it's perfectly normal. Just get back on track, and keep going, keep moving forward, be in the present moment. I cannot say that enough. That's why, a lot of times we get lost, because we're thinking about the past, or we're thinking about the future, and that's what I've learned from doing my shadow work, is that totally being in the present moment, and I've learned so much. And it's been an amazing journey. That's all I can say. It's been hard, but hey, I'm here now, and I'm able to have a testimony and speak about it. Okay. Well, since we've talked about shadow work, we've talked about fear of being alone and self-love. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the benefits of shadow work. And the benefits of shadow work is personal growth. It leads to more self-esteem, and it's just so much more you can do, and there's more resources out there. And yes, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in. And okay, we're about to go on a break. I'm sorry.
Truly Tuesdays coming. Mark your calendars for May 28th and get ready to roll on the floor laughing at the Music Box in downtown LA. The Truly Tuesdays comedy show promises to deliver laughter in abundance.
Trina Tuesdays is lit.
Truly Tuesdays. It was incredible. I knew we was about to have a good time, but I didn't know we was about to have a good time like we did. We had a good time.
Get ready to laugh until your side hurts. Grab your friends and family and join us for a night of pure comedy gold. The Truly Tuesdays comedy show. Get your tickets now before they sell out, y'all. Come one, come all, and let's laugh our way through Tuesday night like never before. How you doing? It's Frankie. I know you don't know me. I just wanted to ask you about your house. I was walking by a few times. I always wanted to check it out. Now, folks, this is your girl, Frankie Baby Fantastic. Thank you for pulling up the Fantastic Media Group TV. This is what I mean when I say independent and really unplanned content. So, if you recall, I came by this spot that's on Kingsley at the top of my block, at the top of the block. This guy that I thought was an architect. All right, here's the quarter right here. Mateo, it's Frankie. How you doing? I'm out here now. I was on my way headed back.
Trying to create artwork that you can manipulate over time with different contents.
Living in Sculpture, Mateo, now available. It's Frankie Baby Fantastic. Do I need to say that? Tonight, it was a full night, man. I had a great time. I told you, comedians are the true doctors. All right, shout out to the Music Box, Havana. Shout out to T over there in the East Coast, the other Music Box. Shout out to Trina with the Truth and all the comedians that came out tonight. Shout out to In the Moment Pictures who came on a pick up the tail end for me. I appreciate MooniLove 7-Eleven. Held it down for us too. Hey, listen, we're gonna do this monthly here, y'all. I think we got another date coming up, and I'll put that out there. But Fantastic Media Group TV, make sure you check it out. But listen, I can't stress enough. Our independence. We have to do it for ourselves. Find your team, find your network, find your people, and let's make it happen ourselves, y'all. All right? Peace. Until next time. Easy.
Fantastic Media Group TV, your premier destination for independent content.
We talked about shadow work. We talked about fear of being alone, and we talked about self-love and being in a vulnerable place. And that's what I was in. I was in a very vulnerable place, but it's just, you're gonna get tired of running into that wall. So you're going to want to put in the work for yourself. And also too, it's like the universe is going to keep sending you that same lesson unless you've learned from it and stop. You're tired of running into that wall, because if you don't learn that lesson, it's going to repeat itself. And you're going to wonder, why do I keep attracting these type of people? Or why does this keep happening to me? Is because you haven't learned or grown from it. And that's what, and that's why we're here. We're here to to make people aware of they're doing their shadow work and their fears and their insecurities and being vulnerable. So Simone, being vulnerable.
Well, I'm gonna just say this on an honest tip. I think I like being vulnerable to a certain extent because it helps with my with mastering the different energies in me, and also with controlling the different levels to me, right? My masculine quality, I might over speak, or my feminine quality, I might be too giving, or things like that. So being vulnerable to me is a sign of a strength, but just don't overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like I like being vulnerable, and it was hard though when I was vulnerable, dealing with my self-care and my shadow work. But also, I want to piggyback off of what you said earlier. Like, don't go backwards. You always have to move forward and face, face challenges ahead, and anything that happened behind, just don't worry about it. Let it go. I feel like sometimes, not all the time and most times, but sometimes, very few times, it's okay to go backwards to pick up a missing piece to the puzzle that you have in front and ahead of you. So it's easier to go back home, come back to LA and go back home and say, hey mom, the memories that we used to share, thank you for bringing them back. You know what I'm saying? I love the familiarity. And then going back to the South or whatever, and then continuing on with their day or whatever, their life. I feel like that missing piece can add value. Just don't stay stuck in the past. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people in general, I'm speaking on everybody. A lot of people in general, 98% of the population is when they do go back and they go backtrack and they go back in their past for whatever reason, if they go back to the old relationship, if they go back to rewrite their wrongs, if they go back to whatever the situation is, I feel like a lot of people stay stuck, and they stay stuck in the familiarity of the past, and then it goes back to the trauma, the tribulations, and the drug use, or whatever discomfort, dis-ease that brought them out of that. Now they went back and they stayed stuck. So now it's hard to be awakened and to come back out of that, even though that they realize, damn, I just came back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now I'm awakened and I'm here, but I forgot how to get myself out of this. You know what I'm saying?
You got caught up in that web.
And so when it comes to self-love,
so that's okay, because you've been to that place before. So now you have the tools. You have the tools and the resources now, and you are strong.
But everybody isn't. I'm saying in general.
Well, that's so. Say if they did the work, and you're saying falling back into that place again, right?
What I'm saying is, I was piggybacking off of what you said. It's never okay to go back. When once you come out of a dark time and whatever, keep moving forward. And what I'm saying is, sometimes, not all the times, and in most cases, it's not okay. But very few times, it's okay to go backtrack, and find the missing piece that you need for your future. It's just most people in general, when they do go back in their past, they get stuck because they're familiar. Because, for example, it's like moving out of state, and when you come back home, now it's the old food that you used to eat. It's the old candy you get stuck into.
And
now
that's
it's
life.
Like
that's a part of life. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna fall down, but you're gonna dust yourself off and get back up.
Yeah.
You'll fall back. We're gonna fall down constantly in life. We're gonna constantly go back to that same place.
So
but you're gonna be able to get yourself up. It is okay.
So sometimes it's okay to go
completely
back
normal
in the past.
To where if you did go into the past, or if you fell off that horse, dust yourself off and get back on it. So, that's when you put in the work and you do the shadow work, then it all falls into place. You're no longer fear of being alone, because you know how to love yourself. And that's when self-love comes in, because you forgive yourself and you forgive the people that hurt you. And once that you do those forgiveness, you start to heal. You heal the trauma. Doors are opening now, because now you've said, you forgive. You know what I mean? And forgiveness is very powerful, because that's a part of the growth journey too. It's like, how do I forgive the person that hurt me? Or some people can't even forgive themselves because they did something bad. But the key to also doing the shadow work too is also forgiveness. Forgiveness. And the doors will open, and dealing with trauma that it's gonna be healing, dealing with all that trauma. But also too, when we go into self-love, you're gonna be more secure within yourself. You're gonna love yourself. You're gonna set boundaries for yourself. You're gonna feel independent. You're not gonna rely on people, and it's just a beautiful place to be in. And also too, this is a rebirth. It's a rebirth. That person, that's death right there. They're gone. You know what I mean? And you have to be okay with thinking that, you know what? I'm reborn. That's a rebirth, and that's a death. You know what I mean? And a death is always, it's a new chapter in our life. So embrace it, and try to stay out of that past, because that's not you no more. You're in a dark place, and you're working on yourself, and just keep at it. Just keep doing it.
And that's why this channel is called the Transformative channel, because I'm not afraid to speak on the transitions that I go through, and how I transform throughout my journey, as well as you. And that's what I appreciate, because we are vulnerable in these times of being honest about our truth and what we're doing on our journey. And in order to educate and help someone else, we have to tell them what we went through in order for them to relate. I'm sorry.
Yes.
In order for them to relate.
Absolutely. And it's a lonely place, because you're going to get haters out there. Your friends are going to be hating and everything because you're now this new person, you know what? And you're setting boundaries for yourself, and you're not going to tolerate the things that you used to tolerate. You know what I mean? So you're going to get, the haters.
That's a part of self-love.
Yes, yes.
Transforming into self-love, into self-like, into more love,
Yes,
into more likes.
And, it's just a trip, because it's just like people, we come in a society where it's like staying stagnant is okay, you know what I mean? And it's looked down on if you're like transforming into something beautiful and different. It's like, oh, does she think she's too good or whatever? Does she know it all or whatever? But no, why can't you embrace the fact that I'm learning and I'm growing and I want to be the best person? I want to be my best self. I want to be the best person. But it's always just like, you got these haters out there that don't like that. It's just like, you know what I mean? And just like they're scared because they're fearing of it, because it's the unknown. You know what I mean? It's the unknown. So that's what they're like. I don't know what she's doing, or they look down on it. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating.
I understand. I don't got too many haters, so I feel you. When I do
family
get them,
members,
I understand.
or just it could be anything. And people out there, they can get it too. Like when you're growing and you're going on your healing journey, your friends are gonna hate, your family members, or they're just not gonna. Some are gonna be supportive, is what I'm saying. And I've always been the black sheep, so that's that. I'm used to it.
Well, we'll save that one for another segment too, because
yes.
we can go on about that
forever. One. Yes, we can. But yes, please, anybody, come in and hit us up. Or it's also too, I'm gonna be having Healing in the Park. June 9th, come out. I'm going to be doing yoga. I'm going to be doing sound healing with my sound bowls and Reiki. And it's just going to be a healing experience. So come out June 9th from 12 to 3.
Address?
It's on the flyer. It's in downtown LA at Chinatown. At what is that park? It's like the State Historic Park. Yeah. Yes, the address is on the flyer. It's at the State Historic Park in Chinatown in downtown LA. Will be by the bridge, and that place is very convenient because it has parking, so you don't have to find street parking. That's why I chose that park. So yes, come out. I do this once a month. Then I'm also doing sound bowl healing once a month too, with my women's circle and co-ed sound healing. So yes.
Yes. So also, I do want to mention I was a guest at your sound bath, as well as your the Healing in the Park as well. Mm-hmm. So if you guys haven't been to her events already, you guys should pull up with me. Tell her Simone referred you, but definitely pull up. You can also follow me at Mindful Motives 1. MindfulMotives 1, and I'll have the flyer posted on there, so that way if you guys don't have the flyer, you can just hop onto my Instagram page and you guys can tune in there, as well as pull up to the park, because the address will be listed.
Yes, and follow me at MooniLove 711 on IG, and thank you for coming out to our healing channel, our transformative journey. Thank you.
Like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you got any questions, drop them below.
Hey.
Truly Tuesdays coming. Mark your calendars for May 28th and get ready to roll on the floor laughing at the music box in downtown LA. The Truly Tuesdays comedy show promises to deliver laughter in abundance.
Trina Tuesdays is lit.
Truly Tuesdays. Truly Tuesdays. Truly Tuesdays. It was incredible. I knew we was about to have a good time, but I didn't know we was about to have a good time like we did. We had a good time.
Get ready to laugh until your side hurts. Grab your friends and family and join us for a night of pure comedy gold. The Truly Tuesdays Comedy Show. Get your tickets now before they sell out, y'all. Come one, come all, and let's laugh our way through Tuesday night like never before.